Hey guys, this is Jacqueline Van Bierk. I am so excited to bring you my artist series and my first interview with one of my favorite people, Jon Siren. He's a drummer, musician, artist. He's played with so many bands. He had his own band called Mankind is Obsolete. He's played with Dismantle, Cyclone 9. He's played with the Kidney Thieves. He's currently in the band IMX. They're going to hit the road in a couple of weeks. They're going to go to Europe and Russia. They're going to come back to North America. I mean, he's got so much happening, and I'm so happy that I got to spend some time with him today to talk about his story, how he got started, what keeps him motivated, and on top of all of that, he's a vegan, which I really love. He will share some of that as well. And here's Jon Siren.
Hello.
He is amazing. We've known each other for quite some time.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Back with Otto's daughter, and when you had your band Mankind is Obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I always admired about you was definitely how you just make shit happen. You know, you were like packing the van and going on the road. You were on the road for a long time back then, right?
Yeah, we did. We did a number of tours. I'm trying to think. I definitely, the inspiration for the way that we approached the band back in the day was based out of a lot of the punk rock bands that I grew up with that would play house parties and things like that. And everyone would just get in a van and do it, and we would trade shows with other bands and that sort of thing. And I just took that mentality and brought it in to the 21st century, I guess, like 2003 or 4, whenever that was kind of when we were kind of getting our start.
Right.
And I still use that mentality. And then I had it wasn't Facebook, it was MySpace at the time was around, and I really used that as kind of a way to network with a lot of bands from different cities, different states. And I would try to help them get gigs in Los Angeles, and they would help me get gigs. And then as you establish yourself in other areas, then it's easy to talk to the promoters. And it was all just sort of a grassroots approach to touring and just getting yourself out there and not really relying on whether or not a label was going to help you out. I guess it ended up being a good sort of approach, because I see even bands who are on major labels having to take more of those responsibilities into their own hands.
Yeah. I actually jumped ahead, so you are a drummer, you're a songwriter,
yes.
And I looked you up on Wikipedia.
Oh wow!
And so it looks like you've
been
doing this forever, like even when you were back in Ohio. You're from Ohio, right?
From Ohio, yep.
And you were doing that. You started playing punk in punk bands and like metal.
Yeah, grindcore, metal, punk, all that kind of stuff back in the day, and even with some local goth people in Columbus, we had something going on with one of the guys from The Wake, which is a really awesome. They were a great band on Cleopatra Records, kind of Sisters of Mercy-esque.
Nice.
From Columbus, with the bass player. I had a group, and the singer of the Azoic, Christy. So that was awesome. We had sort of a 4AD Cocteau Twins kind of vibe going.
Nice.
But it kind of fizzled out quickly, and I moved to New York and then LA. So
I didn't know you were in New York, because I lived in New York too. What did you in New York?
Well, I was going to this doing this culinary program. It was like a natural foods, mostly a vegan approach. Culinary program out there, and I was working at a raw food restaurant and also a vegan bakery out there. I was definitely encouraged to have music as a hobby, and to go for a career that would make more money or have more stability. So at my early age, of 18 or 19, I don't remember how old. I was probably like 19. I had moved out there and pursued that originally, and then met a band that was from LA who just lost their drummer I was at CBGB's, and so I wasn't married to living in New York, so I only spent 5 months there, and then I moved right to LA to join them, and then they broke up. And then I stayed in LA.
I read that, yeah.
So that was that.
That sounds somewhat familiar. That is so cool. And so then when you got to LA, what happened?
Well, I got to LA, and there was no band, and so I had started a degree originally when I was 18 at Ohio State, not knowing what I was going to do, but so I took some undergrad classes. Essentially, I went to Musicians Institute. They were just developing a degree program. so there weren't that many people, and when I actually graduated, I was literally the only person that was graduating, so that was a little awkward. Like,
wow.
Like, they had a whole ceremony for the vocational students, but then they brought me up with, like, and I had to wear the cloak and the hat and all that.
I want to see a picture of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure my mom's got something. She came out and visited and all that. But anyway, so I finished, got my degree. I joined hate department, or like kind of while I was in school there, and their drummer had gotten into an automobile accident, so I was coming in to fill in, and so we toured with like Hansel and Gretel, and who else did we did a few things. We did stuff with like Slick Idiot, which is NS's from KMFDM's.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of cool. I was getting to play with some heroes, a lot of the 90s industrial rock and that kind of thing was a huge influence. So here I am, I don't know how old I was, maybe 22, something like that, getting to play with these incredible groups. I mean, I was definitely very honored. And
how did you find them? Like, did they find you? Did you see an ad?
Oh yes. Now I remember. Yeah, because while I was in school, there was this drummer from Sweden or Denmark, I forget, and he was an incredible drummer. Anyway, he was always getting these gigs and answering Craigslist ads, and he's like, yeah, I've got this audition, but I can't do it. You might be into it though. It's for this girl that was in Pigface. So it was for Megli Chin. I went in and did the audition, and she wasn't into me. She said she liked my look, but then the way I played, she thought I was too rock and roll for what she was going for. And so, and Siebold, the guitar player, was the guy from Hate Department. So he followed me with my drums as I was like, I was very sad at the time, almost in tears. I never had this kind of a rejection before,
right.
Especially like so deadpan and like, no, this isn't gonna work. Like in the middle of a song. So anyway, Siebold followed me to my car. He's like, "Yo, it didn't work for her, but it will work for me. You wanna play in Hate Department?" I was like, "Fuck yes."
Oh man, that is awesome.
So I went off and did that tour with Hansel and Gretel, and that was they were kind of getting back around at that point. I think that they were on a little bit of a hiatus at the time.
That is
but,
so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was a really cool tour.
It seems that you, like, from reading, your past, like where you joined one band that led to another band, it was kind of probably like that, right? Just like at some point word of mouth, kind of like one knew the other band, or you tour with that band, and then they're like, man, if I ever need a drummer, then I'll hit you up, right?
Yeah, it kind of worked out that way. I mean, you become friends with people, or you say hi, you might exchange a number, an email address, I remember. I mean, even when we played in Portland, Dismantle was newly forming, and that was a group I ended up playing with a lot, and it was one of their first gigs. And I met Gary afterwards, and he was 18 years old. He got signed to Metropolis, and he was, so he was this young kid on the cool industrial record label. And I just went up to him, and I was like, and I had my own band, Mankind is Obsolete too. We had done sort of a demo as well, and I gave him my demo, and he he kept in touch with me, and then I ended up getting his band booked in Los Angeles, not at some remote crappy bar in Arcadia. So that, I don't even know if it's around or not, but it was like the best I could do to try to help him out. And then from there we just developed a friendship, and eventually I started drumming for him. So I mean, but like one thing leads to another, and that led to a lot of other situations. So it's funny how that Hate Department tour or getting rejected from doing the thing with Megli Chin or something like that. I mean, like, it can all lead to something else.
It's always the universe is watching. It's always like there's a higher purpose, or like something better around the corner, I think. And one thing I will say is, like, whenever, like, when we were playing out, I don't know if I knew you were in the band at the time even, but you were always out supporting other bands. I've always seen you out. You were always supporting other bands.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did that a lot more now. I shamefully don't do that nearly as much to the same level. And
well,
maybe
you're busier now.
It's busy, older age, all that kind of stuff. And but yeah, I mean, I was definitely like, all right, let's just I want to meet people. I want to see all the bands out there, and we got to support each other. It was kind of like this solidarity thing. It's like we're all out here. kind of shooting
helping
for
each
this.
other, yeah.
Helping each other out. And
that's
the
how
thing
you create a scene.
exactly,
You know?
and and when that happens too, it's like bands will want to continue to, if they see the numbers in the club, they want to continue to book those bands. So it's like, you want to support the groups that are kind of in a similar genre. And so, I would be out there all the time. I mean, I was very socially awkward, which I probably might be even now, but at least I felt that way. But I was there. I was at least there. I was there.
You were always out there. And I thought that was really cool, because a lot of people don't show up and they don't support. And then they want you to come to their shows, So
that happens a lot. I mean, that, I get used to that now. It's like certain people only hit you up, for a guest list or something like that, or this or that. It's kind of like, what you can do for them versus, what, actually being a friend or looking at it.
It's kind of ironic because as musicians, that, if I put you on my guest list, then I don't get the money. So, it's kind of like ironic how, they want you to show up and support them, but then they want to go everywhere for free. So wouldn't you say that part of your success is definitely just being out in the scene, supporting other people and networking, right? Even if you think you're slightly awkward, but you're still,
I mean,
to be out there, right?
Sure, you got to absolutely at least make a few steps. You know what I mean? Enough to kind of get the ball rolling. I mean, I guess if you can hit a certain point where, I'm just absolutely too busy to be going to every single show at this point.
At some point you got to work. Or,
and so now it's more of a luxury if I actually get to go somewhere, even something that like, not even just trying to support my friends hooking up, getting their situation together. It's my favorite band could be in town, and I might be like, I'll just have to catch them next time.
I miss so many, and I don't even have a good excuse sometimes. Either I'm working or I just totally forgot because I'm busy in the studio, and I'm like, oh shit, that was last week, And that happens. It happens. It definitely happens. I mean, besides that, another amazing thing about you is like I've been on the road and I'm a vegetarian. I've been on and off. Like for a while, I think at some point I was eating meat and I stopped eating meat again, and I found it so hard to sometimes stick with it on the road. I mean, I did, but it was hard.
Sure.
It's like, especially when you have everybody else around you eats like all the shit food.
Yeah.
And when you done with that show and you're sweaty and tired and exhausted, you just crave this nasty food, and when it's around,
you want calorie-dense food when you're depleted like that.
So you've been a vegan for almost all your life,
for a good chunk of my life, definitely.
And so how did you manage to, and you have a book out. He's got a book, and I'm gonna buy the book, and you should do too, because I mean it's just you prove, right? Your drum is hard work to drum, so you have to be in great shape, and you're vegan,
yes.
And you're vegan and you're doing it. I hear so many people say, you need to eat meat. It's important for your body. And I get tired of arguing with them because I'm like, no, actually you don't.
It's an uphill battle with that. I mean, luckily there's enough science going around. There's enough. There's a lot of epidemiological studies that have happened where they've studied large populations of people that are eating mostly plant-based. You've got things like the Adventist and the Adventist 2 studies. And these are things that you guys can look up. The listeners of this. Go Google the abstracts of these studies. You've got the Nurses' Health Study. You've got the China study by T. Colin Campbell. There's so much evidence that leans towards eating a plant-based diet as being sort of like the optimal way of eating. And this isn't even just for like animals, it's for our health
for
too.
Health.
But eating it in a certain way. And we're not talking like going out and eating, veggie burgers with French fries and like Coca-Cola. I mean, you could do all that stuff, and then you're gonna be vegan. Sure, that's
unhealthy vegan.
And I did that. When I first did it, it was all about the animals.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually really didn't get into health until I started getting older, and I was like, shit, man, I gotta like make sure that I've got my body
and to
together.
get your drummer, that's hard work.
Yeah, exactly. I need the endurance. As you age, you're going to break down a bit, so you need to really take care of yourself. I mean, you can still have some fun once in a while. I don't think that you have to. I mean, maybe some people have to be very regimented, in order to kind of stay on track. But I mean, try to have a good time. And the food's great. I mean, that's the thing. It's like people think that it's so limiting to eat a vegan diet, but it's like, think about all the fruits and vegetables and different grains and beans and spices that are out there. I mean, you can really do a lot